Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning back in. Today I'm going to be getting into the second part of this little mini series I'm doing on the cost of living in Addis Ababa. So for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. And for your information, my family and I, my husband and our 3 children moved to Ethiopia earlier this year. We were living in Addis Ababa for about 6 months or so, and then we decided to come back for various reasons, which I went into detail about in a previous video, I think entitled Where Have We Been, or something like that. So you can go check that out to hear the full story. But now I am working on a couple videos for you guys, just to help you determine the cost of living and kind of help budget if you're planning to move to Ethiopia specifically, because that's where we were, that's what I can speak to. So just wanted to get that out there before I jump into the content today and kind of give you guys a little bit of context. Anyways, that's enough of that. Let's get into today's video. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about cost of food and groceries in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. So I took a few notes and I'm going to be glancing over at them, every now and again, just so I can make sure that I hit all the points I want to hit and, get the cost estimates correct. So most of these costs are based on our experience as a family of 5 living in Ethiopia earlier for the first half of this year. Prices may have shifted slightly since that time, but probably not too much. And I will note up front that you can expect prices will probably continue to change, maybe hopefully in the downward direction, as the conflict in Ethiopia is kind of cooling off, and there should be a return to economic stability here soon. So I have divided this video into 4 main topics that I'm going to discuss with you guys today. And those are the local produce, cost of local produce and foods, cost of imports, cost of eating out, and also other hidden costs that you may not be thinking of. So first topic is the local produce. So that will include all your local fresh fruits and vegetables, onions, potatoes, carrots, tomatoes, bananas, avocados, mangoes, you name it, fresh fruits and vegetables. And I also am including in here meat, if that is a part of your diet. So for, like I said, a family of 5, 2 adults, 3 children, I would say that we spend about 5,000 to 10,000 birr per month in this area. And in the dollar conversion, that would be about $100 to $200 per month. And like I said, for your personal budget, it may be more or less than this if you have less people to feed. But generally, that would be about what we were spending. So it is quite a bit less expensive than my budget here in the U.S. And I would say your money can go further there with food as long as you are buying locally. Now, before we get too excited about that cost, there are also there are imported foods and grocery stores that are available for you to shop in. And so if you're coming from the West, there may be some things that you or your children are familiar with eating that you want to incorporate into your diet while you're living abroad in Addis. And so those things might be snacks, such as like chips, like snack bars, those kind of things, cereals, breakfast cereals that you may be familiar with or used to, yogurts, cheese, canned goods. So if you are used to using like canned diced tomatoes or tomato paste or that kind of thing, that would all be included in there. I also included olive oil, because that's an import if you want to cook with olive oil. Mostly the oil that is used in Ethiopia is sunflower oil, I believe, but that's also an import as well. All the oil that they use is really imported. So keep that in mind. So I also included on this import list chicken. So yes, you can get local Ethiopian chickens, but if you are looking for like packaged chicken breast or chicken thighs or anything, you know, like that comes in the package that we're used to getting in the grocery store, like you don't have to buy an actual live chicken and kill it and whatever, do all the stuff you have to do to prepare it, that is going to be an extra cost. So the price for imports is going to double your grocery budget. So if you're only doing locals, I said $100 to $200. If you're also including in the imports, we were spending about an additional $200 to $300 a month on imported goods that, you know, my children are familiar with, that we're familiar with. And also, you know, you may not want to eat Ethiopian food every day, and you may want to cook a different, you know, type or style of food. So just keep that in mind. That budget can fluctuate based on obviously what type of food that you're making, and also if you decide I don't really care about having, you know, cereals, I can use local grains and make oatmeal, or I don't really care about having snacks, I can eat local snacks, you know, whatever those things, you know, it depends on you and your lifestyle. So keep that in mind. That would be about 10,000 to 15,000 birr per month, like I said, which is a dollar conversion, about $200 to $300 a month. All right, the next category, eating out. Eating out is a little bit tricky, I would say, in Ethiopia, because it is more likely that you may get sick from eating out in Ethiopia than you would in a Western country. So I would caution you not to eat out too much. My family and I, we went to Pizza Hut in Addis and got food poisoning there. So, you know, eaters beware with eating out. But if you're gonna do it, I would say it's still worth it to go out, especially to the Sigabet, which is translated to meat house. And there are really delicious foods that you can get, fresh meat, and they're prepared all different kinds of ways. For those of you who are familiar with Ethiopian food, you know what I'm talking about. And it's really good, and it's fun. You know, a lot of these places also have live music and live dance, so it's a fun night out. It's a family-friendly environment, you know, and it's a great time. So the food is great, entertainment is great, and that is going to run you about 300 to 1,000 birr per month for a family of 5. So that's about $20 to $50 a month. It's really not that expensive to eat out, but if you do it every night, it's gonna probably run you up a lot more than what you would spend if you were just cooking at home, and that's the same for anywhere, right? And it also will be more expensive because I think in Ethiopian culture, it is customary sometimes to, you know, pay the bill for the whole table. So if you're eating out with other friends or with family members, like sometimes they'll pay for you, sometimes you pay for them, and that's just how it goes. So, you know, and also if you're buying a bunch of drinks with your food, it's gonna also go up. You know, if you're drinking like sodas and waters and stuff, probably not too bad, but if you're buying alcoholic beverages, it will go up quickly. So my final topic within this topic, my subtopic, is other hidden costs. So there are a few things that you may not have considered when you are thinking about how should I budget for food in Addis. One of those things is called a seratania. A seratania is translated in English as basically a house help, you know, a house worker, and it's usually a woman who will come and help you in the house, help you prepare food or help you do laundry, help with the kids. You know, it depends on what your expectations are for her, and you know what you're hiring her to do. And I'm saying her because most of the time they're women. I don't know if I've ever seen a male seratania in the house. I don't think so. So that price is going to range based on, like I said, what you're expecting her to do. So if you're looking for a house help that will come and cook mainly Ethiopian dishes, you can hire somebody for probably as low as like 1,500 birr a month, 1,800 birr a month. If you want her to cook both Ethiopian and also know how to cook some other international meals, like pizza or burgers or pastas and stuff like that, that'll be closer to about 2,500 to 3,000 a month. And it can go up if you also want her to do laundry and stuff like that. So I would just average and say estimate about $50 a month, and that's probably right in that 2,500 birr rate if you're going to have a cesarean. So not super expensive, but it's definitely worth thinking about if you have a big family and you think you're going to need some help. I will also say the price will vary based on whether or not she lives in the house with you guys, or if she comes daily to cook and then go home in the evening. So that's something to think about, and that is another monthly cost that could be hidden. So the other hidden costs are not monthly. These are one-time expenses, and that would be your appliances to cook your food. Most homes in Ethiopia that are for purchase or for rent do not come with appliances. So you're going to have to buy a stove oven combo, a fridge, and maybe even an injera oven if you're hiring a worker who's going to be making injera. Or if you're going to be making injera yourself, you might need that. But it isn't necessary if you're not going to eat injera that much, because you can just go out to a small shop anywhere basically and buy injera that's already made. And for those of you who don't know, I'm sorry, injera is basically a staple food that comes with almost all Ethiopian dishes. It's what the actual meat and vegetables and sauces and everything come on top of. So it's a flat kind of sour tasting sometimes bread that is used as almost a utensil to pick up the other foods. And so if you're familiar with fufu in some of the other African countries, and they use that to eat their dishes, injera is the same type of thing in Ethiopia that they use to eat their food with. Okay? I like it. It's an acquired taste. Not everybody does, but I do. So for a stove oven combo, that will we paid about almost 30,000 birr for ours. And so that's around $560. I think we paid about 27,000 birr, honestly. So a little bit less than that. But those are imported items as well. All of these appliances are imported from outside. And that's why, the cost is a little bit higher, and probably higher than, what you would even pay in the West. But that's because Ethiopia is a landlocked country, and it's hard to get things in and out of the country. There is a tariff that is also imposed on these imports and exports because they come through Djibouti. And so, it's a challenge. So even if you're thinking, oh, I have a stove oven here where I am in the US and I can just ship it over to Ethiopia. No, that's probably not. It's probably going to even be more expensive, honestly. So you might as well just leave the stuff you have, sell it. If you're moving for good over to Ethiopia, sell your stuff, make the money, and then buy new stuff once you get there. Okay, so the other thing you're going to need, which is kind of a hidden cost, also just one-time purchase, is a fridge. A refrigerator will run you about $500 or so. Could be more expensive, could be cheaper. Like I said, usually these items are not really up for negotiation. The price is usually set, but you can, shop around based on the brand. You don't always have to go for like LG or Samsung or something like that, because those are going to be probably the most expensive products. But there are other lesser known brands that really do the same thing. Like, we didn't have an LG or Samsung fridge or high-end appliances, and they worked perfectly fine for us. We never had any issues. So that's something to keep in mind. You don't always have to go for the top brand. And the injera oven, which I said you probably won't even need, but in case you want to know, I would say that's about 5,000 birr, and that's $100 a one-time purchase there. So, like I said, these were the prices and the costs of food and groceries that we experienced while we were there. It might have changed slightly, and there may be some fluctuation. One of the good things that I like about Ethiopia, as opposed to some of the other African countries, is that once prices go up, they don't just stay there. You know, it is possible for them to come back down. Whereas I've heard, like in Ghana, sometimes once the price goes up, it just stays up and goes higher. You know, that's not the case in Ethiopia. So that's one upside, I would say. So this is, like I said, our experience based on our family of 5 coming from America. And your experience might be different. Your cost may be higher or lower than this. But I think hopefully this will give you a bit of an idea of how you can budget and plan. Also, coming with a large amount of savings is great, but it may not, no, I don't want to say may not, it probably won't, it will not last forever, you know? So one of these days I want to do a video where I'm talking about some business ideas, income generating ideas for people who plan to move abroad. But anyhow, thank you guys so much for listening to all of this. I hope it was very helpful for you. And stay tuned for the next video where I will be talking about transportation costs in Addis Ababa. All right, guys, love you. Thanks for watching. Bye.